Hey everybody, Alex Kozora, SteelersDepot.com, going back and doing our Talk to the Tape segment. Obviously, we were doing it on a weekly basis during the season. Now the season's been done, so we for a couple of weeks, but, with no terrible podcast today with Dave Bryan still away in Florida. This is going to be the sort of fill-in for it. Still wanted to provide some sort of content in an audio, video, obviously video today fashion. And as you can tell by the title, what we're talking about is replacing Ryan Shazier, because I think there's still optimism for him down the road, but for 2018 it's obviously almost impossible that he's going to be able to play football. So one of the biggest needs for the Steelers defense, whether they address it in free agency, the draft, or both, is going to be the inside linebacker position. That much is obvious, but we have to think about it a little bit deeper than just get an inside linebacker. Well, what does that mean in today's NFL landscape? What does that role entail? How is it shifted? And what are the traits you're going to have to look for to find someone who can replace all that Shazier did? And that's the important part. That's the key thing we're talking about today is what were the traits and how do you try to replace a guy like Shazier, who was an every situation guy? What are those situations and what are the qualities and characteristics of a player? What does that have to be an every down type of player? So Shazier plays the MAC inside linebacker position in Pittsburgh's 3-4, typically the weak side linebacker next to the Buck, which is Vince Williams' spot, who's going to typically play on the strong side. In Shazier's role, he was, again, an every down guy in all situations, whether I was in 3-4, goal line, the standard 2-4-5 nickel, and then you get into some of your other sub packages like your dime package, where you're going to have a 2-3-6 with two defensive linemen, three linebackers, two outside, one inside, the inside being Shazier, and then you get the extra dime defender on the field in secondary. So you have to have a guy that can basically function as defensive back out there on third down, whether that's getting depth in cover two, taking the running back, taking the tight end, the receiver. We're going to show some of those things today. These are all third down examples. I think all but one come in dime. And that's going to be the number one thing you look for. Because if you get a guy who can't fill this role, you don't have the right guy. Because it's going to be such a big part of the defense that you still haven't filled. You need someone who can cover. You need someone that's versatile. Someone that can play man, someone that can play zone, a good tackler. So beyond just the regular, obviously, inside linebacker position, being able to block shed, make tackles against the run, do some blitzing, stuff like that. We're looking beyond that and what are the extra qualities the position's going to have. So I know this has kind of been a little long before I got into the video, but I wanted to explain all that before we looked into some of the examples and showed some of that value from Ryan Shazier, to get a better understanding of the type of player the Steelers need beyond just saying, well, they have to get an inside linebacker. That much is clear, but who is going to fit that role? Not every guy is going to fit that role. You're not going to obviously have a two-down thumper against the run be able to play Shazier's spot. Again, you're going to be okay on first and second down, but on third down, what do you do? So, have a lot of plays to go through today. We're kind of going to be jumping around, so sorry if the video looks weird. I'm going to have to be doing some scrolling and stuff like that, because I can't get this in an order with a search function. It's not just from one game. It's all over last season, to show some of those examples. But I want to go to our first one here, back in week 1 against Cleveland. And hopefully the audio sounds good. I was messing around with it every time that I don't do a video for a while. I always worry about the audio settings if something got screwed up. The software I used didn't update, so I think it sounds okay. I did some extra stuff to mess with it to make it sound better. If you do have a problem with audio or video, please let me know in the comments below. So to the play, 3rd and 11, as you can tell. This is where Shazier ranks. See him right here. Steelers are in cover 2. Now Shazier is not in the deep hole, the middle hole player that's being occupied by, I think it's with a dime player, one of the DBs here, but still getting depth. And then you're just going to rally downhill and finish the play and make the tackle. You're getting your zone depth to start, you're finding where the ball's going, then you're driving downhill, cleaning up the mess, making a tackle for a 9-yard gain on 3rd and 11 to prevent the third down, or the first down. So there's Shazier, getting athleticism to get to a spot, make the play, finish it, get the defense off the field. This is not exactly high-level stuff, of course, but you're just looking at some basic stuff. Can you tackle in space? Are you a good enough athlete to get to that space in time and then go ahead and finish the play? Not, you know, a lot of linebackers probably make this play, but we're just getting a feel for some of those baseline traits that's going to be needed, because you got to have a good third down defense. It's 3rd and 11. You know, you can't give up that conversion. So next one we're going to look at against the Vikings in week 2. Just want to make sure I have this lined up so it looks okay. We're going to go to the second quarter. And again, these were all 3rd down plays. Talk about critical situational football where you got to get off the field. We're going to, I think, show a couple examples of this. Again, dime defense. See William Gay in the game. There's Shazier. And this is pretty common responsibility against trips. 3 receivers to a side like this, especially when it's 3 receivers, tight ends opposite. Linebacker's going to have to carry number 3. Whether that's a receiver or a tight end, it doesn't matter. You're going to have to be able to match him, especially if he's going vertical. So I'm not entirely sure who the receiver is here, but it doesn't really matter. Now he runs an out-breaking route in the corner. Hilton, you know, comes into his zone. But imagine if, you know, this was just a vertical shot down the seam by number 3. Well, Shazier's going to have to help carry that. He might get some help over the top, but he's going to have to at least be there in good trail position to help squeeze that throw. So again, we're looking at some higher level stuff where you might have to run with some of these receivers downfield. Obviously, a guy that's just a 2-down thumper and a traditional buck player, even a guy like Vince Williams, who I like and have been high on, not going to be ideal for this role. That's why you need someone with the special athleticism like Ryan Shazier. So we'll look at it from the end zone angle too. Again, carry number 3. Again, he comes into some help, get a sack on the play, but that's not the point that we're talking about. Just, you know, whenever a defense or an offense lines up in trips like this, and we're going to show several more examples of it, linebacker's going to have to give help on number 3. Look at it one more time. Move on to the next play. And this is coming off one of their fire zones. Here's Joe Hayden blitzing. So if you want to be able to blitz the corners, linebackers are generally going to have to be asked to cover because they rotate the safeties to come down to replace Hayden. You get single high. End up Shazier matching against number 3. As you get this in, I think it's an inversion. I think that's Hilton that ends up coming up to replace as a safety. I'm not going to break this one down too in depth. But you kind of get this cover 2 look out of it off the corner blitz here. One of the new wrinkles that Butler added was the outside corner coming. You didn't really get that under LeBeau, but you got it a little bit under Keith Butler. You know, Hayden picked up a sack like this in week 1 against Cleveland. All right, you get the idea. Next one we're going to look at coming in week 3. We go again, second quarter. This is a 3rd and long. I think it's 20 something on this one. 3rd and 25. Obviously, 3rd and long. One alert you're going to get here, especially 3rd and forever like this, are your screens. You know, whether that's just a running back or wide receiver screen or whatever. And again, it's just about athleticism, ability to close, make the play before anything gets out of hand. So Shazier initially, he's got his read on the quarterback, so he kind of looks off the linebacker, and then Shazier has the speed and the angle to come back across the field and make the play. So you're just looking for high-level athletes that can cover the entire field. Obviously, Shazier, the only linebacker on this play, someone that can go sideline to sideline. And then again, good tacklers that can help clean it up, not let, you know, yards after contact, broken tackles. Obviously, in this game, Chicago, you could see the impact and it doomed the Steelers, all the missed tackles. But on this play, at least, you get a nice, clean, open field tackle. So look at it one more time. Cam Hayward with a nice pancake, too. Nice long arm stab. That was fun to watch. When Hayward takes over, it's a lot of fun. So again, just looking at the traits. This one actually, I don't know if it was in dime or not. But it doesn't really matter. No, I think it was, because I thought that was Vince Williams for a second. That's L.C. Walton. But anyway, you get the idea. So guys, again, cover the entire field in sub-package football. That's what you're looking for. Alright, next we're going to go to a fourth quarter of the Chiefs game. Okay, stop it right here. Again, you're getting trips. Trips generally means linebacker might have to work on number 3. This time it's the tight end, but it's also Travis Kelce. Again, corner blitz, you're going to help replace by getting linebackers in coverage. This time it's, I believe, Mike Hilton on the nickel blitz. So Shazier is going to cover number 3, is going to carry him vertical. Now, being in the red zone helps kind of eliminate some of the space over the top, but still, you know, there's your linebacker matched up against one of the best tight ends in the game, one of the most athletic tight ends in football. Can he handle that assignment? You have the confidence in being able to put him out there in that matchup. That's what the scheme is going to demand. You have to find a player that's going to fit that scheme. Otherwise, if you don't, you might be a lot more limited. You might not be able to blitz as much. Because now, if you don't have the confidence in the linebacker taking the tight end, maybe you don't blitz the corner as often because you feel like we got to have our corners covered and maybe all linebackers blitz. There's pros and cons to it. It's not the worst thing in the world, but one of the things that makes the Steelers' defense effective is the versatility, the ability to blitz any guy on the field, and just giving the offense different looks, screwing with protections, overloading stuff, and just, you know, getting different guys on the field. And one of, you know, for example, Mike Hilton's assets, one of his positive traits, is ability to blitz and time those blitzes. And you saw the impact that he had against, say, a Houston team where he gets 3 sacks in the game, the first cornerback in NFL history to do it. And actually, that might not be Mike Hilton, but you get, you know, the point remains. I think it's Sean Davis coming off here. But again, same thing. That's actually both. So I kind of scan through these plays once, take a couple times, and then take a couple quick notes and go from there. So you see the process. So it's both coming. It's the safety and the corner coming. So it puts more of the onus on the linebacker to have to be able to cover. Now again, the ball doesn't go there, it goes somewhere else, but, you know, if Kelce's open or if they see a potential matchup where they know the blitz is coming, obviously it kind of gets disguised at the second here. You think, well, I got a linebacker on the tight end potentially, you know, let's take that shot. If that's a Tyler Medikevich, your read for Alex Smith might be different. No, we got a really good matchup on Kelce on a linebacker who isn't really known for his coverage skills. So we're just looking for those traits and how do they fit into the scheme, and if you don't have this trait, how does it affect the rest of the scheme? There's a big domino effect that exists there of what you can and can't do based on the personnel that you have. And having that ultra-athletic linebacker is so critical. A guy that can be out there for every situation that you don't have to worry about. You don't got to have replacements for him, like the Steelers had to do after Shazier, after he got hurt. All right, we'll go to Week 8 against Detroit. Once the load. So hopefully you're just seeing the pattern here of what to look for when, you know, identifying a replacement for Ryan Shazier. That's in the first quarter. Again, 3rd and 6. Shazier lined up here. And again, what do we have here? 3 receivers to a side. So what's going to happen? You're going to carry the tight end vertically. And again, you're getting a DB blitz here. So your linebackers are going to be forced to cover, going to be forced to take on a difficult matchup with not necessarily a ton of help. Watch it from the end zone view. And again, obviously other things you see, Shazier's communication, the leadership, that's going to be standard of any player you get, of course. But that's going to be important to replace as well. So here comes Sean Davis and Hilton again, same blitz we just saw. Forced the linebacker to take the number 3 in trips and carry him downfield. Now he gets some help over the top from Mike Mitchell. But Shazier has good coverage there. Kind of forces that throw to have to go way over Eric Ebron's head. Allows the safety to come over. Mitchell in this case. And the pass is incomplete. So I know from maybe the aerial view, you might say, well, he's got some space there. But if you look at the end zone view, that's really well defended. And, you know, it changes how Stafford has to throw this ball. because you have someone that can carry an Eric Ebron, who's a top athlete as well. It's been highly productive. And again, it creates incompletion, gets you off the field on third down. Third down, situational football stuff you got to do. And again, when you have a Shazier, it gives you more freedom to call those blitzes on third down, where Butler blitzed the most often this year because he didn't blitz a ton. The onus and the philosophy was to get there with 4, so his blitz numbers were down. But when you do blitz, you have to have confidence in other guys to replace them. So look at one more time from the aerial view. Two more plays after this. Again, there's Shazier. Pass incomplete. Get off the field. I know we're going a little bit longer than these usual kind of talk to the tape videos, but in our, replacing the terrible podcast, I figured we could go a little bit more extended, to kind of mimic the, hour long. We're not going to go an hour, but I'm going to do a little longer video instead. All right, here's a new one. And this is kind of a weird, wacky thing, but I think it's important to point out. Again, another third down. This is Shazier's interception against the Colts, and it was, obviously a little fluky, but when you have a special, unique athlete, they can make those kind of fluky plays. So what we're going to get here is 3rd and 8. Colts are going to run a screen to tight end Jack Doyle. Shazier's able to read it, so it was supposed to be a blitz. Let's start there. Shazier's about to rush. He kind of feels like, this might be a screen, whatever tell he's got. And he's able to drift on it. And so when the ball bounces off Doyle's hands and helmet, comes up in the air, you see Shazier make, an incredible interception. I'll run the whole thing through so you get a, good feel for it. But he just throws his arm out and picks the ball off. Now again, it's a little fluky, it's a little crazy, but Shazier's a phenomenal athlete that just has that innate ability to make those kind of splash plays that most guys don't have. You think about Troy Polamalu, what made him so special, he could just make the impossible seem routine. Same thing. Impossible seems routine. So you need a kind of guy that can make those splash plays and capitalize and be opportunistic and finish those chances. And it's a huge play, obviously, to get a turnover deep inside Colts territory. So you want someone that's that special, unique guy. It's not going to be every kind of player, and just because you're a 2-down thumper does not mean that you're going to be suited for this role, because you got to make plays like that. Vince Williams, obviously, I'm high on Vince Williams. He made a big impact, in terms of being able to get to the quarterback and blitzing. But he's not going to be a Shazier who's going to have a million pass deflections and make these kinds of plays and pick off a ton of passes. And you get the idea of what I'm saying. So you want someone in your linebacking core, one of those guys, to be able to make that kind of impact routinely. And Shazier is able to do that. And when you make plays like this, you have a special guy, and to replace someone like him, you got to find a guy that's at that level, or at least close to it. So I just wanted to point that out. And then finally, go to week 12. Against the Packers. Here in the late third quarter. 3rd and 15. Now we've seen him carry tight ends. Let me go back to the beginning here. We've seen him carry a receiver in the Vikings game. Again, you're getting trips. What do you think is going to happen? You're going to carry number 3. In this case, number 3 is Jordy Nelson. So you're just carrying whoever that is. Number 3, whoever comes up vertical, whether that's a tight end or a receiver. Your linebacker's got to be able to have, the ability to do both. Now, obviously, receiver's a tough draw, but you need someone that can at least hang with them. And so Shazier's able to do that here. And again, you're getting your blitz with Davis coming, sending Vince Williams. One of these guys has to be able to cover, has to be able to replace that. And yes, Nelson, runs a good route and gets some space on him, but, you just can't make the matchup obvious. Because if this is a Tyler Medikevich or a Sean Spence, as Jacksonville did, you're going to recognize that immediately and say, we got one of our better receivers on their liability. We got to, make sure that's our primary read, or really hone in on that. When you have a guy like Shazier, it might be a little bit tougher. And it is going to be a tougher play. So that's just the general idea, and the pressure gets there, and it gets the sack, and there's no throw. But we're just looking at what are the responsibilities of Shazier, and what are the traits that a new player, a new face is going to have to be able to replace him. And so that's what we're talking about there. Someone that has the athleticism, the IQ, the ability to cover sideline to sideline, to make open field tackles, to communicate, and just someone you have trust to be able to execute everything in your scheme that's going to allow anyone else to, open up and blitz and give Keith Butler freedom as his defensive coordinator. So I just wanted to make that point because I don't think it's been addressed really at all, but definitely not, I don't think, well enough from anybody, of what exactly the position entails, what is going to be the responsibilities. And I wanted to show these because, in most of these plays, he was the lone linebacker on the field. This one he wasn't, the lone inside linebacker, I should say. But, the Steelers want, and I'm sure didn't really need to run more dime. And you're going to have a role with that with Cam Sutton. I'm sure the Steelers want to get Cam Sutton involved, assuming he doesn't, beat out an Artie Burns. And you have Hilton in the slot and Hayden as well. So you're going to be running plenty of dime defense this year, and you need a linebacker that's proven to be able to cover. So that's going to be really critical. So, we talk about free agent replacements, we talk about draft replacements. Just want to keep those things in mind. Who's going to be someone that can thrive on third down? Because if they can't, I don't view it as an option for Pittsburgh, because you're still going to be screwed on third and long. And that's, you don't want to give up those kind of third down conversions. Steelers did a really nice job last year, going off my memory at least, of not allowing third and long conversions. One of the better teams in the NFL to do it. And then obviously, games like Jacksonville, at least post Shazier, you saw him struggle some more, and Spence get targeted because he just didn't have the coverage ability. So just wanted to point that out. Hopefully you guys thought it was informative. I'll wrap this video up because I know we're already over 22 minutes here. So anyway, let me know your thoughts below. Free agents that you would like to be, seen brought in by Pittsburgh, or draft, prospects, possibilities. Any guys that you're high on that, again, keep in mind what we just talked through. And guys that could fit that bill of being an ultra athletic guy that can, hold their own and hopefully thrive on third down. For Monday, I will have my free agent wish list, where I kind of go through. I'll break it up into two posts, one for offense, one for defense. Guys that I think, either could be interested to the Steelers. The Steelers have interest in them, I should say, or guys that I just like that I hope the Steelers are interested in. I have a couple names in mind. I have one inside linebacker that I don't think anyone's talked about yet, but I didn't really know much about him until I kind of researched him, watched a couple games of his, read more about his background, and went, wow, this guy could be a fit for the Steelers. No one's mentioned his name yet, so it's, I don't want to spoil it, but it's not Avery Williamson or some other guys like that, names that you've heard. It's not Derek Johnson. It's not Timmons. It's a name you might not have heard of, but a guy that I think kind of fits and is interesting. But anyway, I don't want to give away too much. So that'll drop on Monday, the whole free agency wish list. So anyway, I'll wrap this thing up. Let me know your comments, whether you're watching this on YouTube, on Steelers Depot, or you're following me on Twitter at Alex_Kozora. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.